Absolutely.
That's fair.
I didn't even, I ate one. I didn't even.
Well, you should have replaced it.
Everybody? Yes, it is, you know.
That's because of the. I got myself.
That's fine. Okay, it's 6:34, we'll go ahead and start the meeting. Call to order. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Trumpman,
Here.
Vice Mayor Johnson Sardella. Here. Commissioner Bill.
Here.
Commissioner Ross. Here. Commissioner Tudor.
Here.
Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a proclamation to start off this evening. This is the Arbor Day proclamation, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. Whereas Arbor Day is now observed in the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, lowering our heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our village increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore, the Honorable Mayor and the Village of the Commission of the Village of Biscayne Park do hereby proclaim April 28, 2017 as Arbor Day in the Village of Biscayne Park, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands and to plant trees and care for trees to gladden the hearts and promote the well-being of this future generations. Thank you. Are there any additions, withdrawals, and deletions from this agenda? Okay, public comments related to agenda items, good and welfare. Public comments, open the floor. Before we do, I just want to make one comment. I know this is, a lot of people applied for this job, and I know they put their heart and souls into hopefully getting the job as village manager, and so I'm hoping we can all be as positive and proactive for those folks that have applied. Thank you. Open the floor for public comments. None?
Chuck Ross, 1166 Griffin Boulevard.
Excuse me, Mr. Ross, your mic's not on.
Chuck Ross, 1166 Griffin Boulevard. I looked over all the resumes. There were several people who were not from South Florida. I don't give any weight to people who are not from down here. They don't have any connections, and they don't know what it's like. There's a lot of cultural diversity. Some of these people are from places where there's not a lot of cultural diversity. One person has been in, I think, at least 5 states, etc. So when I look at all the resumes, there was one person from last time, which was Mark Cutney. However, Mark Cutney lives in West Palm Beach, and he lives about 1.5 hours away from here. And when we needed his help, he wasn't here to help us. So that kind of like bothered me a little bit. And the person who is here, who did come to help us, is sitting right over here on my left. And that's the person I think we should consider being our manager. I don't really think that any of these other resumes. There's Mr. Cabrera, Deputy Chief Cabrera, who's sitting in Miami, was acting manager for 4 years. He's been in an executive position as a deputy chief, and he was, in a very large department. I don't think that's someone that would fit in around here. So there's that resume. But other than that, and Mark, I don't really think that those people are the people that we want here. I think that maybe we want to stick with our current interim manager. Thank you.
And don't forget to sign in, please.
Of course, Chuck does not sign. I'm not signing your name, no, you're not getting me in trouble. Hey, you gotta come over here and sign, I'm sorry. I don't know who you are. Dan Samaria, 1030 Northeast 121st Street. I want to give credit to this commission so far, at least from what I have seen. You guys are taking this seriously. Each of you was willing to meet with me privately and ask my opinion on who I thought I recommend to be picking. And so I was able to meet with each individual and got a pretty good idea on how it's going to go tonight. I just hope that with this is that you take into consideration what's going to be for the residents, that's going to serve for residents. I don't know if this group that we have picked, that's the 6 finalists, was the best that can be. I don't know, unless there wasn't a lot of people that could have been picked. Because I came down only at 3 at the most. The rest of them should not even be given opinions on it. I'm not going to give my opinion on it until after I see what everybody else's, what the commission decides. And then with the 3, I will decide on give my opinion on that. I gave my opinion to each of you, so you know where I stand on it. But I really want to hear from what the commissioners want. And please give it good thought on each, and give good reasons why you want this person to be one of your 3 finalists. Just don't pick a name and just, I want to know exactly why you picked these 3 finalists. Thank you.
J.D. Anderson, 11th Place, 119th Street. I've written to all of you a couple of times on this issue, so I think in general, you know my feelings. I just want to add one more point, that it's not always what is on paper that counts. It's what someone does that shows a drive and an ambition and a willingness to learn and an understanding of who we are. So I hope that will be paramount in your consideration tonight. The other thing, I was a little bit disappointed that we didn't have the 6 resumes up online, because I think it would have been really nice for residents to be able to see more specifically the 6 that you are choosing from. So I would hope that the 3 you choose tonight, you will in fact have those up online before next week. Thanks.
Thank you, Jim.
Rosemary Wise, 116th Street. I only ask that you think very carefully about the person that you select to be a finalist. I know who I would prefer. I know one of the persons in the running very well. I have worked with this person. I know how he works, and that is a good work ethic. He knows us. Wouldn't it be nice to have someone here who knows us, that we don't have to break them in for a few months with mistakes? Christian Manners works very well. He has people skills. He treats people with respect, with dignity, and he gets it back in double fold. He knows everybody. Everybody knows him. He knows how this village works. And he's here now. He's working for us now and doing a good job. I would rather have someone here that we know than someone that we don't know from someplace else. And that's all. And don't forget to come Saturday to the birthday. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. Don't forget to sign in.
Bob Anderson, 11th Place, 119th Street. I just want to thank the commission for having on the agenda the surplus vehicles and get rid of them so we don't end up starting a junkyard. Thank you.
Ed Chisholm, 625 Northeast 114th Street, across the way there. I'm here to speak for about 4 families, 8 residents that are unable to attend tonight for various and sundry reasons, but all of them expressed an interest in having Mr. Manners continue as our manager. He's proven himself over the years. He's all the good things that everybody said. I didn't hear any negatives, so I think when you have a winner, you bet on the winner. Thank you.
public comments? Close the floor to public comments. First is on the consent agenda. There's a resolution 2017-23. Attorney, could you please go ahead and read the resolution?
This is resolution number 2017-23, a resolution of the Village Commission of the Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, declaring village vehicles as surplus property and granting the village manager authorization to sell said surplus through bid auctions, providing for an effective date. This is a request to pass and adopt.
Is there a motion on the floor to pass the resolution?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Moving to new business, which is selection of 3 potential candidates for position of village manager will be determined at this meeting. With that, I'd first of all like to open the floor for discussion on the process of how that should be done. I think the city clerk has put forth in front of everybody a ballot selection with everybody's name on it to pick the 3 candidates. If there's any discussion we'd like to happen before, I'd like to go ahead and do that now, open the floor for discussion.
Mayor, would you like me to step out of the room so you guys feel free to discuss this?
That would be helpful. Thank you so much, Mr. Benny. Commissioner Ross, recognize the board.
Thank you. I think the best approach would be for each commissioner to write down their picks, and then if there's a conflict, we can, weed that through and talk it out. But rather than go through each of the candidates one by one, I think it's better to see how much support is behind, how many, and then we can proceed from there.
Okay. Is there a consensus to this? Is she pretty thought process? Consensus? Okay. Just to be clear, this is not a secret ballot. Everybody here will know who voted for whom, just to be clear. We want that to be a very open and transparent process. The purpose here is just to put it down on paper so we know everybody's choosing. And while everybody's doing that, do you want to pass it to the clerk and then pass back? Yep. While she's calculating, I will add that I had the pleasure of speaking to 7 candidates, 6 plus 1, and I spent about an hour and a half on several of the phone calls with the individuals, and it was an absolute pleasure to have the privilege of speaking with these individuals. They all added more complexity to my decision-making, and I just want to thank all the candidates. In case they do review this video, I do want to just tell them how much pleasure it was for them to take the time to speak to me and answer some very difficult questions that I asked. I feel like I should do some Jeopardy song or something like that. This is so quiet. this is not a ranking, this is just selecting 3, just to be clear, there's no ranking.
Okay, I have
Madam
the,
Clerk?
Mr. Manners received 5 votes. Mr. Mark Cudney received 4 votes. And Mr. Irizarry received 3 votes. So those would be the 3 gentlemen selected for the next round.
Could you read the votes publicly as to who voted for what, so we're clear?
The mayor voted for Mr. Cudney, for Mr. Irizarry, and for Mr. Manners. Our vice mayor, Johnson Sardella, voted for Mr. Cudney, Mr. Irizarry, and Mr. Manners. Commissioner Bilt voted for Mr. Cudney, Mr. Manners, and Mr. Irizarry. Mr. Tudor voted for Mr. Cudney, Mr. Johnson, and Mr. Manners. Commissioner Ross voted for Mr. Manners and Angie Wishnet. I apologize if I killed her.
What was the third one? Angie Wisner.
Commissioner Ross voted for, I thought you only read 2, Commissioner Ross.
Yeah, that's right, I only heard 2.
I only voted for 2.
Oh,
Is there any discussion on the votes that like to happen? I'm just asking for if there's any discussion on anybody would like to follow up with the discussion. Commissioner Ross?
Our plan was to pick 3 finalists to move forward with, and it looks like there are 3 who have a majority of support, so I guess we've accomplished what we were going to do this evening.
Okay, I just want to make sure there was no further discussion. Okay, I'll close the board to discussion. I'm sorry, did you have discussion? No. Okay. Okay. Announcements, please?
before you do that, could you go with the next step?
Yeah, that's part of the announcements.
Okay, so I want you to push it back in.
Yes. Actually, we'll take a moment to get Christian back in. Can you all let me go again? Thank you. You go, ma'am? Thank you so much. While we're doing that, and Christian's coming back in, I will go ahead and go over the process. Correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Clerk, it's the 27th in which, go ahead.
Yes.
Just go through the process real quick.
We will have on the Thursday, April 27th, we will have the meet and greet with the residents at 6 p.m. But during the day, we will be scheduling times for the commission to be able to meet one-on-one with these 3 individuals. So what I'm going to do is I will contact each and every one of you and give you time slots to be able to come in. If you know of times that are best for you, I would appreciate if you could forward those to me so I can make those accommodations easier. So, and then what we're planning on doing is we'll have 3 offices, since we have 3 individuals, and then the commission can come to each one of them and cycle around more or less between 30 to 45 minutes will be the interviews.
Okay, and then on May 2nd, at the regular commission meeting, we will be selecting the city manager.
Yes, ma'am.
And at that point, there's usually contractual negotiations, and that process we'll be discussing on the 2nd. And then on, after that's done, then there'll be a start date, presumably shortly thereafter. Okay? And I guess we're just going to take a 2-minute, I'm going to have to take a 2-minute pause to get the first to come back. So, excuse me, interim manager, Mary Nash. We'll just take a 2-minute.
It's
Do you
coming.
want me to go, Kevin?
I think somebody.
Yeah, it's coming.
We don't have to go here. Okay. Do you want to go ahead and open the announcements? Sure. And then I know there's a section in your manager's reports. And I thought, actually, you know what, let's wait, because I know that the interim manager asked to give a small report on progress and things, so let's do that for you now. Welcome back.
Thank you.
If you would be so kind, I know you had some things you wanted to report out on, if you would go ahead and.
Could we bring Christian up to date on?
I think he was brought up to date. No, you were not? Okay, then I will bring you up to date. There were 3 people selected. The votes were 5 for you, 4 for Mr. Cutney, and 3 for Mr. Irizarry, and those are the finalists.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Okay, so do you want, interim manager, would you care to give an update on some items that I know you had asked me to do for you?
Absolutely. Am I coming? So we're still working on the CAFR. That's not on.
Now it is. You're good.
We're still working on the CAFR. The first draft of it arrived today, along with the MD&A letter. That's the management discussion and analysis letter. And so we're going through that. Beatrice, who's our finance director, and I will be looking at that, making our first round of corrections and comments. Once we get the second round, then I'll distribute it all to the commissioners and for your comments and corrections. We anticipate that it will be prepared completely by the end of April. We want to present it at the May 2nd commission meeting.
Hoorah.
With finance, we are starting to catch up. I think I've told you all individually, but there was a lot of checks and so forth that had not been deposited. All of those are caught up now. We've deposited about $104,000 in the past 2 weeks. So that's all in the bank account now. The control account for the note on the log cabin, there's been some question about that. It's supposed to be funded by the half-penny sales tax that we receive, and that account is being funded hopefully today or tomorrow. We're supposed to call us today to get it set up so that we can fund it. I don't know if that happened this afternoon, but it will be funded tomorrow.
Just for clarification for the public, do you want to just explain that that was supposed to happen before and didn't, so now it's being corrected?
That was part of our original. It was part of our original agreement in the bank note that we took out for that $350,000 mortgage. Was that the funds from the half-penny sales tax would go into a control account, and the bank would automatically deduct what they, our monthly payments from that. That account was apparently never set up. And so that was one of the findings, that it's now been set up and we're getting ready to fund it. The bank's aware and we're working with them to get it all really compliant now and moving forward and automated so that we don't have to sweat it. If I get hit by a bus tomorrow, that mortgage still gets paid. So we caught up on the bonuses for our public works guys. They usually receive a bonus in December. And this year, for whatever reason, they didn't. So those were paid this week with payroll, and so that's all caught up as well. All the bank accounts have been reviewed, and so we currently have about $1.4 million in the general fund, and a little over $411,000 roughly in reserves. So we're doing okay. We're not, I think all of us have been sweating, hearing some numbers, and so from that perspective, we know them now. We know where we are, and we are doing okay as a village. All of our payroll and our payables are current now, so we're good there. We're up to date on all of that. Employee health insurance, that will be coming out of the Board of Commission on May 2nd. We have a consultant that has been reviewing plans and has brought to us a plan from ADMIT that's comparable to the ADMIT plan we currently have. So it's a good policy for staff. Additionally, the ADMIT plan would go up, I believe, about 10% this year, where we keep that. This new ADMIT plan, we actually would be saving about 16% if we go with it. That would be roughly $20,000. So that's a substantial savings for us. We are still reviewing that and making sure that the numbers are sound and that we're running it by staff. I have a meeting of staff next week where we have, I think, 8 staff members who will be looking at it, seeing if their doctors are there, and asking questions so that we can, make sure that everyone's on board with this. It sounds like a good move at this time, and I'll keep you posted on that.
If I may ask through the mayor,
Yes.
the FMIT, the Florida League of Cities, offers a lot of umbrella type policies, and that might be something to look into for health insurance. I know they do have a health insurance product.
Thank you. We will definitely check that out. For the past few years, we've used a consultant, and the consultant has gone out and gathered the estimates from different companies for us, but I will certainly bring that up. We're pleased. It's been, a relatively quiet week this week. 3 new police cars arrived, so we're going to get those into service quickly. As you know, we retired 3 cars, and those will be surplus. So we're excited about that. John Hearn, our attorney, is preparing an offer letter for interim chief Nick Bullschlager to make him a permanent chief.
Yes.
And so we're going to move forward with that. They had oral boards today and have 2 strong candidates for the police. And so hopefully, we'll check them out and that will continue to move forward and we'll get fully staffed on that.
Congratulations on the full staff, that's fantastic.
I'm sorry?
I said congratulations on the hard work I know you've had to staff the police, and I know with the interim chief, he's been doing a very great job trying to staff it, so thank you.
The hard work for that goes to Nick, and he's done a phenomenal job, so I can't take any credit for that, that's all.
Thank you.
On code, Mayor Trutman did a ride-along with our code officer. Excuse me, I turned my phone on when I went over there and forgot to turn it off. Mayor Trutman did a ride-along with our code officer on Saturday, and I think we've done a couple of these now.
Yeah, second one, end up to 2.
Just pointed out some issues that she's hearing about from residents, and I think the code officers found that helpful as well. And so, thank you for that. Regarding courtesy notices, Elizabeth is still new in our village and still learning, but her production is increasing, and there's been a lot of comment about tightening up and issuing more courtesy notices and that sort of thing. So in March, she issued 32 courtesy notices for the month. April to date, she's up to 135. So we're moving forward on that.
And I'd like to make a few comments just from our observations, if I may. I was impressed with her knowledge of a lot of the unsightly properties or debris that's outside, and how much the ride-along from the first to the second that those were cleaned up, and how much she knew about the individuals. I must tell you, being mayor, I was rather embarrassed that she'd been here such a short time and she knew more of the names of several of the residents than I did. So I just want to say that it's clearly she's out in the field, so I appreciate that very much. And she was also very responsive to and wanted the input. And I'll tell you that the reason I did that is because residents came to me, and rather than having 5 or 6 residents try and ride along with her, I wrote down everything they had asked and I passed that on to her for them. It wasn't a direction as much as it was with the permission of our manager who said, let him do that. So, thank you.
Let me give credit where credit's due to Mario Mata, who's our direct supervisor. So he's been a huge help with that, so thank you, Mario.
She's doing great by herself.
So moving on, the rec center, progress has been made on the cleanliness of both the rec center and the surrounding grounds. We're getting that together. I've got estimates for a deeper cleaning in the bathroom, and so to get the grout and the tile back to its original color and so forth. So we're looking into that. We talked about painting, or we're planning to repaint the rec center. That's been delayed. We brought it fascia board on the outside. So that's going to have to be repaired first before we paint. So that's going to delay it, but that's coming. And we are going to probably reopen the search for a rec center manager. And so we went through the resumes, and we're not really sold on anyone yet. So we'll be looking to reopen that search. As far as administration, we did interview part-time clerk candidates. and we're checking references on our first choice right now, and hopefully that will check out, and if so, the references will, if the references check out, then we'll move forward. One thing I want to give to the commissioners as well is today we met with Beatrice, our finance director, and so I've got little packets for each of you that has the bank account summary. It has the actual loan document from City National on that $350,000 mortgage. I know we have some new commissioners that probably haven't read that yet, so I want to make sure that you all have the information. Also, some information on the CIPP fund, what are eligible expenses, what we can spend it on. We have currently around $500,000, a little over $500,000 in the CIPP funds. And so I want to make sure that you guys all know about this and where it can go. Same thing for the law enforcement forfeiture fund. And so I'll pass these out after the meeting. And that's what I've known.
And I just want to thank you. I did have an impromptu meeting today with Beatrice as well, and it was refreshing to actually have numbers, real financial numbers that were concrete, as well as knowledge of how the funds were moving, and for me that was very enlightening, so I thank you for that as well. I guess we can go on to announcements.
On Friday, April 21st, we are having the Health and Wellness Keep Active, Get Moving at 1 p.m. in the Recreation Center. Saturday, April 22nd, the Biscayne Park Foundation will be having Earth Day celebration from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Thursday, April 27th, we will be having our meet and greet with the village manager candidates at 6:30. And Monday, May 1st, will be a planning and zoning board meeting at 6:30 p.m. Our next regularly scheduled commission meeting will be Tuesday, May 2nd at 7 p.m.
Just two things. I just want to encourage everybody to come out for Earth Day on Saturday, April 22nd at the Rec Center. It should be a lot of fun, as well as really encourage everyone to give us your opinions on the 3 finalists. I really would like to hear from you personally. That is once again April 27th is the meet and greet at 6 p.m. I hope everybody will be able to join us. It will be here. 6 o'clock, right?
The Earth
6,
Day,
6:30. It was 6 o'clock for the meet and greet.
the meet and greet, I have it at 6:30.
6:30.
Okay, 6:30, but on the, okay, so well, that's a correction on the agenda. It's 6:30. Once again, the time correction is 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, I'm sorry.
It
I'm
is 6
sorry,
o'clock?
my mistake, 6 o'clock.
Okay. All clear at 6 o'clock. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn the meeting?
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion, meeting adjourned. Thank you. Thank you all for coming.